Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Oh, if I can make it past the first 30 seconds of the introduction. How's everybody doing? Hey, it is, I am Mr. Warren Hayes. This is the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. It is actually the SmackDown Live recap show, and we are recapping the SmackDown Live episode of December 18, 2018. We're getting close to that end of year, folks. So very close. Just a couple of weeks out, I should say. And we're in 2019, ladies and gents, where we start off fresh, a fresh new year, new me. Kind of like WWE right now, starting off fresh, giving us refresh. We had freshness on Raw, or did we? And we had freshness on SmackDown Live tonight, and we're going to get to that in a second or two. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for watching right now. I want to take a specific amount of time right now, an allotted amount of time, to thank everyone who is in the chat room right now, because yes, I do this live. If you're watching this in the future, watching this on your own time, I do these live every night after Raw and SmackDown, about a half hour after. 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Raw, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the time where all rabid fans converge. Stand time, Eastern Stand Time. You have Pacific Stand Time, Central Stand Time, Mountain Stand Time, Greenwich Stand Time. These all exist as well. What was I talking about? Yeah, so I do these live, and I want to thank everyone who's here live right now in the chat. We got a nice bunch of people, some familiar faces, a couple of faces we haven't seen in a while as well. We got Tim, we have Jay King, John Baez is here, Kevin Carroll is here, Darcy, and Kristen Ashley, editor-in-chief of Diva Dirt. Have you checked out the Diva Dirt 2018 Fan Awards? Have you? Well, you have to check out. Go find it right now. Well, not right now. Wait till the show's over. But later, go on Periscope. Look for the Smart to Death Periscope channel, and it's right there. We did that. When I say we, I was there to sort of anchor the thing. Kristen ran through the entirety of Diva Dirt's 2018 Fan Awards. Diva Dirt, in case you don't know, premier, excellent website for all of your women's wrestling news and events. Covers not just WWE, covers the whole gamut of wrestling as far as women goes. And it's fantastic, and I was glad to be able to contribute to that. It was a lot of fun. Did that with Anthony of the Smart to Death podcast. That's why I'm representing your boy Anthony tonight. So there you go. You should go check that out. But a bunch of people in the chat here tonight. I'm really happy everyone is here. I am really happy that you're watching, even if it's not live. Thank you so much. I mean, it really does mean a lot. And if you are watching, you know what? Something you could do is take the time to tweet, Facebook, whatever you do on social media. Just toss that link to this video out there into the universe. If you're watching live, do it now so we can get more people. But, share this, give it a thumbs up. It's crazy. The more I do the YouTube thing, the more I realize that it is indeed true that the YouTube algorithm puts a lot of stock into this, into thumbs up and shares and comments and all that stuff. So the more you do it, it's a super easy way just to show your support for Warren Hayes, Mr. Warren Hayes, and the show. It's really, really easy. So just go ahead and do it, and I'm super appreciative of it. Trust me, I am. A couple of programming notes before we get into this exciting episode of SmackDown Live. Tomorrow evening, Wednesday, I will be doing my 205 Live NXT recap show over on FightfulSelect.com, the premium service of Fightful.com, which is the tip-top, numero uno, cordon bleu level of combat sports news. That's what you get there. You get pro wrestling news, you get boxing news, MMA news. If you don't like all that other sports nonsense of people going punchy and then other people going punchy kiki, pull you down, tap you out in a cage, punchy. If you don't like that stuff, you just go to FightfulWrestling.com and you get all your pro wrestling news packaged up there. And the best way that you can support that site is to go on to Fightful Select, the premium service. And why am I talking to you about this? Well, you know, if you're wondering, that means you're probably watching the show for the first time. That's fine. Welcome. I do a lot of content over there at Fightful Select. I help out a lot. It's a lot of fun. I do my 205 Live NXT recap show every Wednesday evening. I do an NXT UK recap show, usually packaged in with my 205 Live NXT show. But since WWE has been putting out 2 hours of NXT UK programming a week, well, we decided to go ahead and just do an exclusive show just for NXT UK, as long as they do a 2 hour programming block. So we're doing that. I do what do you call those things? Retro pay-per-view reviews. There you go. With Sean Ross Sapp. We recently just released WCW World War III 1998. That was a lot of fun to review. Not as much fun to watch. And there's all sorts of other members-only podcasts. You get the Fightful Report podcast that Sean Ross Sapp handles every Wednesday. He also does Q&A sessions. We have the Weekender podcast. That's Steven Jensen who does that. Weekender podcast covers all non-WWE programming. So you get to hear about Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, NWA, Lucha Underground, if it ever comes back. It'll be covered there. Steven does a great job. And there's so much stuff right here. And look in the chat. You've got Tim, who is a Tier 2 member of Fightful. I salute him because there are different tiers, but you can get all the basic extra content, the extra podcasts, the sneak peeks, the previews, these great podcasts. You can get it for as low as $5 a month. It's the best tier. No, it's not the best tier, but it's the great tier. It's a great tier to start off your Fightful Select tryout. And you should just go try it out. Try it out for a month. See what happens. In any extent, you get more of me. And that's not so bad, is it? So go check that out. I'll be doing my 205 Live NXT recap on Wednesday, NXT UK recap on Thursday. And then next week, I have come to a decision, ladies and gentlemen. I have come to a decision that I will not be doing my regular Monday and Tuesday night streams, considering that it's New Year's Eve and Christmas Day, 24th, 25th. I will be doing a stream on the 26th, though. I don't know exactly at what time I'll be doing it, but at some point on the 26th, I will be doing a stream just to go over the events that happened on Raw and SmackDown right here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. So, I will just leave it as such. I mean, it's the holidays, right? We got to take the time to spend it with loved ones, with family. Take it easy, kick back a little. And I think, you guys will be busy. I'll be busy. I think on the 26th, if we all reconvene, right? I think it's a good time for all of us to come back and, just sit around and enjoy each other's company again. Well, there you go. So those are the programming notes. That's what's going to happen over the next couple of days. That'll be a lot of fun. You know what else is fun? I bet you do. It's bold predictions! Bold predictions is what I do. Whenever there's a main roster show, I go on Twitter and I light up my timeline. I'm like, hey guys, shoot over your biggest, boldest, most out there predictions as to what might happen on the show tonight. You rarely disappoint, TL, timeline, Twitter folks. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to join in this conversation. I'm at Mr. Warren Hayes. That's easy to remember. It's got a ring to it. It flows off the tongue. Mr. Warren Hayes. You can do it all in one breath. So let's go right ahead. Let's jump right in. Let's do some bold predictions. You're going to start with CM Rebel, who is a regular contributor, but his stuff is, their stuff is always good. Daniel Bryan reveals his new eco-friendly title, which is made out of lettuce, pita bread, and crackers, while he is competing in a non-title match against Alma. Zelina Vega eats the new title. That is very bold. I would actually like that. It would be, it'd kind of be a callback to the days where they do custom belts for the champs, like Stone Cold with the Skull belt and The Rock with the Brahma Bull belt. Here you'd have the Garden belt for Daniel Bryan. I like it. Good job, CM Rebel. Thank you for that. Long John Bronze chimes in. Nakamura loses the U.S. title after failing to name all the state capitals in alphabetical order. New U.S. champion Nicholas, what a throwback, is crowned after passing this test. This is very, very bold. And there should be some kind of litmus test, right? To become U.S. champion. Shouldn't there be like some kind of, like there should be for the U.K. champion? The U.K. champion should at least be in a position to name, who were the battling monarchs during the War of the Roses, right? Should at least be able to say that. If your U.S. champion can't come up with the capitals of all 51 states, I think. Well, that's why I'll never be U.S. champion right there. Straight off the bat, it's like, name all the capitals of of each state in the United States of America. Like, geez, is there 51 capitals, or are there 50? And do I count Puerto Rico? Is Puerto Rico, does it have a capital? Does it? Because I hear it barely has running water since the hurricane. Oh, they're getting political. Okay, let's move along. Good, good, bold prediction there, Long John Bronze. Mr. Noah Andrew Foster chimes in and he says, let's see. We can already see his thought process. Let's see. Sanity comes out and challenges The Bar to a tag title match. It's made official and Nikki Cross comes into play and they win the tag titles. Daniel Bryan cuts a promo and Eric Young calls him out for a title shot, and Nikki versus Asuka is made. Sanity is taking over. Why not? This is very bold, but it is also a prediction I can easily get behind because I like me some Sanity. We did see them tonight. We were very close to your bold prediction, Noah, but it's not quite as encompassing. Doesn't encapsulate everything, but we're very close. That's fantastic. That's another great bold prediction. Thank you, Noah. And we have Kevin Carroll who's in. Kevin, you're in the chat. I know you're excited to see if you made it. You did. Lars Sullivan debuts as the Super Freak, complete with the Rick James Jerry Curl, and tags with the returning Brodus Clay to form the new Tons of Funk. Oh my! This I really like. Lars Super Freak Sullivan. Are you kidding me? In a Rick James getup. Thank you for that visual, Kevin, which will carry me into the night, into my nightmares. Those were bold predictions. Thank you, everyone, for contributing. Thank you to those who made it to the show. Thank you. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I'm losing my voice. I haven't done all, I didn't do all such a big, a large amount of podcasts over the past couple of days. I mean, a lot in a short amount of time. I did the TLC thing with Anthony over at Smart to Death, and then I did 2 podcasts last night and then tonight. But my throat feels a little scratchy. We were supposed to drink some water. All right, let's get to it. Let's start talking about SmackDown Live. And it begins with Shane McMahon, who is backstage addressing the locker room. Shane essentially gives the bullet point version of the speech that Team McMahon gave last night. Now, the main shocker here, if we're going to call it that, because I think it is, the main shocker here is Shane McMahon saying that Paige is no longer general manager of SmackDown Live. And I'm like, wait. Did he say former GM? I think that's what he said. And to make damn sure, I rewound a little bit, put on the closed captions, and I actually looked at the words, and she's the former GM. And why? Who asked for this? We've been asking for so much other stuff. I mean, fans, and perhaps only me. But why did they take Paige away? And Paige is unquestionably, and you can come at me. You can come at me on social media. You can come at me at my workplace. No, maybe not at my workplace, but you can come at me at the means that are at your disposal right now to tell me, to come at me if you feel I'm wrong, because I'm not. Paige has been the most consistent and excellent and effective and credible general manager / authority figure that we've seen in WWE for a very, very long time. She's been much better than Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle has always had his authority undermined. She came in just like Daniel Bryan, in extenuating circumstances, probably in a role that she didn't feel super comfortable in with, but she took it over so naturally. And it worked. She was credible. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone on Twitter say, yeah, Paige, general manager, hit the bricks. Get her out of here. This boggles my mind. And this is exactly what I was saying last night on my recap of that Raw show, which, they started off saying, all right, everything's going to be so fresh now. Everything is good. We're going to refresh everything. We're going to refresh Raw, and we're going to refresh SmackDown. I'm like, whoa, take a back step here, me buccos. Raw needs a refresh. It not only does it need a refresh, it needs a seasonal cleaning with, and you can't just mask the stank with Febreze here. You actually need to get the Mr. Clean involved. You need to get the Pine Sol in there. You need to get the Pledge to make sure that your countertops are all nice and shiny. No. That's what Raw needs. Don't go messing around with SmackDown. SmackDown's doing well. SmackDown's doing fine. Don't go refreshing SmackDown because you feel you need to refresh it. It's good. It's more often good than bad. SmackDown is the problem. Raw is the problem. And like I said last night, it's kind of like when you have two kids who go to a karate tournament. You have your two kids participating in the tournament. One wins the tournament, the other one doesn't even qualify. Well, you take both kids out for ice cream nonetheless afterwards, and you say good job both of them, because you don't want the loser to feel bad because the other one's doing well. That's the exact same thing. We're going to refresh both shows because we wouldn't want Raw to feel like this is all their fault if we're mobilizing and coming in hard to say to the audience, well, we know the product sucks. It's not just don't worry, Raw, it's not just you, it's that SmackDown as well. That's bullshit, and this is a bullshit decision right here to take Paige away. It doesn't make any sense if they are listening to the audience, if we're the authority. Well, the authority never asked for Paige to be taken out of authority. And it's Shane McMahon, the absentee leader of SmackDown Live, who very clearly put it to Paige, who came right out and said, look, I'm going to leave you handle this because I need to get my hands, I need to distance myself from what I'm doing here. And do you remember why Shane McMahon needed to distance himself from his duties of general manager on SmackDown Live? Do you remember why? Take a second, chat. Take a second to remember, to think back why Shane McMahon recused himself from SmackDown Live. Do you remember? I sure do, because he was on a personal vendetta against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, to the point where Sami and Kevin had to leave SmackDown Live. They were fired and ended up on Raw because of a personal vendetta. What were they saying was the problem with Baron Corbin? That he was using his authority to carry out vendettas against wrestlers. And that's exactly what Shane was doing. Puts Paige in this position of power so that he can be like, no, I need to go clear my head. Is his head clear now? All right, now I come back and, now we'll move everyone aside who's been doing a great job, and now I'm going to be back in a position of authority. I don't even trust Shane McMahon. Fresh. This wasn't fresh. This stunk. This stunk to high. If I were to christen this decision, if I were to give it a name, a good old-fashioned North American name, I'd call it Joe Stinko. Oh, I don't understand why they did that. Anywho. So that's what happened. He was basically motivating the troops. Did you notice that while this was going on, you had Xavier Woods and Big E who were standing right next to Daniel Bryan and they were eating big hunks of meat? Did you notice that? And there was the occasional side glance by the New Day. I thought that was perfect. Never split up the New Day. Anyway, there were some people who weren't in the group there. One of them being Becky Lynch. Oh, and by the way, in the chat, we're saying I think Paige is going to come back. She's not gone. She's not fired. She's just out of the GM position. And a lot of people on Twitter were telling me, oh well, she's probably they're probably freeing her up some time so that she can go and do some press junkets for her upcoming movie. They don't need to remove her from her persona from her TV role. They don't have to remove her from her TV role to do that. They had Shane leave for months. Or at least they could have said, at the very minimum, it's like, hey, you know what? Paige is going to be taking a short vacation. She'll be back in about a month or so. Something like that. And have Shane take over for the month and then, drive the whole brand down into a pit where Paige comes back and saves it. Anyway, I don't buy the press junket thing, or at least if that's what it is, it's stupid. It's even more stupid to have taken her GM role away. Then again, we might have a report that'll pop up in the next couple of days saying that Paige she was fed up. She didn't want to do it anymore. Maybe there's an issue. Maybe there's something personal happening. We don't know. But, if I take it at face value right now with the level of information that we have, which is nothing, I think it's a dumb decision. All right, anyway, Becky Lynch comes out, the man. And she says that she doesn't do well with meetings and corporate speak. She says, I'm out here with the people because this is where business is conducted. Now, folks, if you still have even an inclination of a wonder whether Becky Lynch is heel or face, this should have cleared it up right here, right now for you. The days of WWE trying to push her as a heel to us are done. It's finished. She's a babyface. She's an edgy babyface, but she's a babyface. Becky says she wants the McMahons to deliver Ronda Rousey to her. She says, Ronnie, when I got into your business, I fought you face to face, didn't sneak up on you and you had me push me off a ladder or some shit like that. I worked too hard to let some Roddy Piper cosplayer take this opportunity from me. And then Charlotte comes out. She hits the ring, and Ronda proceeds to say, and not Ronda, but Becky proceeds to say, speaking of cosplayers, which is a fantastically fierce burn. Charlotte says that she demands Ronda as well. Becky says, my days of standing behind you, Charlotte, are done. Charlotte says, your days of looking up to me are not done. They were there then, now, and forever, something like that. They articulated better than what I'm doing right here. Asuka comes out. She says, forget Ronda, Asuka is champion. And she has that little gleam, right? This little violent pixie arrogance that made NXT Asuka so fantastic. She's got that little swag back with that belt. She's so good. So basically, she says Asuka is champion. Then Becky and Charlotte start ganging up on her verbally, saying, you're a paper champion. You didn't beat me. You didn't beat me either. And that brings out Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He congratulates Asuka for the win, and he says to the two other women in the ring that if they have a problem, instead of whining, I'm like, no, they're not whining. They're cutting a promo. If it were guys in the ring, would you say that they're whining? It sounded a little condescending there, Vince, but okay. He says, if you have a problem there, instead of whining, you should take it up with Ronda Rousey. And Becky's in the ring. She's like, yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying, Vince, And Vince just, to me, in his promo, and then he says, okay, and then he goes, Asuka, do you want to defend your title tonight? And it's like, what are you, her dad? What the fuck is this? You're Vince McMahon. You come out and you say, Asuka, you are going to defend your title tonight, and I have a suitable opponent for it. And then Naomi comes out, and she basically says that she wants the shot. And then Vince does, what does he say to her? He says something like, give me that look again. Something like that. Like she gave him a look and then you do that again. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Vince. Way to go, man. You obviously have no idea that right now your SmackDown women's division is carrying your entire company right now. There's nothing more exciting that WWE has on tap that has been so consistent than what the women on SmackDown are doing. It's like he really came across as super paternalistic, and not in a. It wasn't like even in a heel. It wasn't like even in a Mr. McMahon way. It was really like a Vince McMahon way. I didn't care for it really, but nonetheless, I really liked how this opening segment was prepped, how it was set up. I liked how the women delivered their promos extraordinarily well. I thought Asuka was super effective as well, the way that they handled it. And the way they included Naomi in the mix kind of felt like it elevated her as well. Like, you have this triumvirate in the ring of three fantastic female talents. And then Naomi's like, I want my part of this too. And you're like, okay, this feels good. This felt really, really nice. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's kick it off with the women here. One thing that I will point out, the one thing that I really gleaned from Vince's disconnected promo was, nonetheless, I think he drew a line here. His purpose here, because ultimately I was like, other than just shocking us all that Vince has a surprise appearance, I was wondering what good he had been here. What was his role? What was his purpose? And I think ultimately what he did here was his role here was to make it very, very clear that Becky and Charlotte, you guys have to move on. The next storyline that you guys are going through, it has to do with Ronda Rousey and has nothing to do with the SmackDown Women's title for now. This is where you two are moving towards. I think this was him drawing a line in the sand, basically, or turning a page in a book. I think this is what it was. That's what it was for. So I think for now, Asuka's going to do her thing with the SmackDown Women's title, while Charlotte and Becky try to maybe begrudgingly work together to take Ronda out. Ronda becomes a prize. The chased, the hunted. It's not as much for the Raw title. It's a grudge thing. I'm okay with that. I think they've been playing their cards really, really well. I think it was smart of WWE to include Ronda within the hottest women's angle in the company right now. Dump the Nia Jax dead weight and get her into Becky. I think it makes sense. Should we talk about the matches now? Man, I'm doing a lot of ranting tonight. It's been like a half hour already, and we haven't even talked about the first match. Here I was at the start of the show telling you people, I have a sore throat. Classic Warren. Asuka versus Naomi is the match we get here. Kicks and arm bars to start, some grappling, basically. Oh, and they trade some synchronized drop kicks. Basically, first part of the match here was to show that Asuka and Naomi are very evenly matched. And you know what? It's kind of too bad that they're in a position now that they're competing. They didn't even mention that they were tag team partners. And they had just recently pulled out matching tag gear. Just recently, not that long ago. Let me know, by the way, chat, what you think. What do you think about the women's situation right now on the SmackDown brand? Let me know what you guys think about it. Drop some knowledge, some thoughts, some opinions. Naomi finally snapmares Asuka down. She kicks her in the back, goes for another kick, but Asuka grabs it. She stands up and reverses it into a standing ankle lock, which doesn't really have much effect. Naomi does a full Nelson atomic drop onto the mat, I guess. You know, where she drops she drops Asuka right on her ass, covers her, only gets two. A couple of pin reversals follow, and Asuka works the arm. She pops Naomi, she being Asuka, she pops Naomi up into the air and kicks her in the stomach. There's some top rope shenanigans that ensue, and Asuka gets some kind of octopus hold on the top rope. And she starts taunting in Japanese. I think that should be a new thing because it lights the crowd up. The audience gets really, really excited when Asuka starts bellowing, conquering words in a language that no one understands, or at least most people don't understand. It lights them up. So that's really cool. She taunts a little bit in Japanese, and but Naomi uses the distraction to hit a nice, smooth Russian leg sweep side Russian leg sweep off the top rope. I mean, it wasn't really a leg sweep, but you get the idea. Back from commercial, they're on the floor. Asuka standing back up. I feel like I missed something because I didn't get we don't get the picture in picture here in Canada when you come back from commercial and both women are on the floor on the outside. You're like, ugh, something good happened and I missed it. Asuka's going to the top while Naomi is back in the ring. She missile drop kicks Naomi to the back, which rolls her to the outside. Naomi is launched into the barricade, but Naomi jumps, doesn't run into the barricade. She jumps on the top and back kicks Asuka to the face in a very, very smooth move. That looked really good. Both women beat the 10 count to get to the ring. Elbows to Asuka, but the Empress counters with a knee. Asuka runs the ropes. Naomi hits an assisted enziguri in the corner. She goes for the split-legged moonsault, but Asuka lifts her legs and Naomi eats them. And that allows Asuka to get, or at least try to get Naomi into the Asuka lock. There's a lot of attempts to get her into the Asuka lock. There's some pin covers, some rolls, nice German actually Asuka goes for a German suplex. It's reversed into a pin by Naomi, follows by a hip attack. Naomi covers Asuka for 2.9. Naomi then hits a springboard something, because she gets countered again with Asuka doing something that looks like a lung blower, but man, the camera work is so shoddy. I think it's the second time that in 2 nights that someone tries to do something and I can't see exactly what happened. And then that allows Asuka to get the Asuka lock in for real this time. I got to tell you guys, there was a legitimate lack of urgency in this match. I mean, this was a tag, not a tag, but a championship match. Kind of felt like Naomi should have been like full on, just rearing and revving and ready to go. Don't feel like she was all that into it, and I think it hurt the match because it just lacked that sense of, okay, this is my opportunity. I came out. Vince McMahon gave it to me. I'm going to make the best of it because I haven't been in a title match for months now. It just felt really, okay, doop, let's have a match. What do you guys think? J King says, match was sloppy as hell. Their styles don't mix well. Asuka is a more grounded technical type, whereas Naomi is just all over the place. I don't really agree with you, Jay, but I will agree that the match wasn't all that good. I wouldn't call it sloppy. It was, wasn't anything egregious about it. I just thought that it lacked some energy. John says, now I guess a triple threat Ronda versus Charlotte versus Becky would be coming up. I would love Asuka versus Ember Moon with Ember finally winning. Yes, who wouldn't want that? And Jay also added that those submission reversals were a little cringeworthy. I agree, but it was really because of the pace. I think if they had picked it up a little bit, it would have come across much, much better. Miz is backstage next, and he knocks at the McMahon family door, and Vince comes out, and Miz asks if Shane is around, and he's got this big grin on his. Is Shane there? And I thought that was funny. And and Vince obviously is in no mood for nonsense. But Miz tells Vince that Shane and he are they're in a bit of a rough spot. He tries to make Vince understand that he's the bet that he wants Shane to be his tag team partner because they'll be the best tag team in the world. Vince says, well, what can I do? And Miz asks for Vince's blessing so that Vince will bless their partnership. You know that Vince wanted to call this gay, right? You know that's what he wanted to say, but he couldn't without creating an uproar. But you know that's what he was thinking. And instead, Vince says, "Yeah, I don't do blessings," which is probably something which is probably something that Vince actually doesn't believe in. He says, I don't do blessings. I don't believe in blessings. And you know what? I think that was a shoot comment. I think that's true. I wouldn't be surprised. But he says, instead, I'll set up a tag team match later on. I'll find you a partner. I'll find you a tag team and prove yourself to me. All right, fine. Then we have Rusev and Lana next. Rusev's bringing back the handsome Rusev gimmick. I'm okay with that. I like Rusev. And I'm glad that they're giving him some mic time where he can be natural and be himself, talking about his beard and shaving his beard, selling on eBay while you're making sweaters for babies out of it. That's what we liked about Rusev when he was a heel. We liked his natural charm. We liked his wit, his capacity to just bring out these one-liners, these zingers out of nowhere. And he compares Shinsuke Nakamura to Sonic the Hedgehog. Next, Jeff Hardy comes to the ring because Samoa Joe is going to apologize to Jeff Hardy. And Jeff has the microphone and he says, some of the things that Joe said were indeed true. I've been weak and I made mistakes, but that was then and this is now. I just don't want to be around and listening to the apology. I want Joe to come to me and apologize to my face to face, apologize to me. So Joe comes out, he says, Jeff, I'm sorry, this is no apology, this is an intervention. And, he starts saying, I know that the holidays are hard for people like you and so on and so forth. It's a little condescending at the same time, not an actual intervention, just one of these situations where, where he's just taking advantage again of a situation to just be a dick. Jeff says, the more you talk about my past, the more I remind myself that I'm never going back there. And you attack other people's weaknesses to hide your own insecurities. You've been here, 2 years, Joe? And you haven't won a single championship? Is that your demon? Is that where you're feeling insecure? And Joe did not like that. He sort of, he didn't quite care for it. And he goes after Jeff, but he eats a twist of fate instead. So Jeff he is unimpressed with Samoan Joseph's attempts to discredit him by using his tainted past. The thing here, and loyal viewers of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show will know that I am a big fan of Samoa Joe. I love his work, but we still haven't seen him win a big match yet in WWE. And this is exactly what he pointed out. It's not even that he didn't win it. He hasn't never won a championship. He hasn't won a big match. Is this the turning point for Joe? If we want fresh, start giving Joe some wins. There's fresh. That's fresh. How you doing, chat? Jay King says Byron not on commentary is like having cereal without the milk. Jay, are you trying to instigate another cereal conversation in the chat like we had last night? That was just nonsense. Noah says I was optimistic on Sanity, still am. We'll talk about Sanity in a bit. And Kristen says I don't understand how Joe is not the top dog right now. It boggles my mind as well, my dear. Do not understand how he hasn't made it yet. Miz comes out. He's ready for, I'm spitoodling. Spitoodling. That's more than just spitting. It's when it comes out of the side of your mouth, kind of out of control. That's a spitoodle. So I'm spitoodling. I'm not making this up. You're making this up. Miz, and he comes out, waits for his tag team partner, who is Mandy Rose. And they are going to face off the surprise team of R-Truth and Carmella, the Fabulous Truth. The fact that Mandy Rose, that Vince McMahon earlier said, I'll find you a tag team partner. And the fact that it's Mandy Rose, it feels like a shoot, doesn't it? It actually feels like this is really Vince McMahon who picked. He says, nope. It's her, right? Right? Because she's such a Vince McMahon type, right? This is nothing against her. This is the Vince McMahon character, the type, the guy. We know his type. So it feels like a shoot to me. Truth has the microphone and he puts over winning the Mixed Match Challenge and looks forward to going to Stamford, Connecticut, which is still very funny. And he says, yeah, I'm looking forward to this match, Miz, between you and Maurice. Which of course he had to, he had to do the joke and it was still funny. That's fine. Wasn't much of a match here. The ladies get some offense, a little bit of offense in here. We get the dance break. And it ends with Carmella getting a super kick on Mandy Rose. And they roll out to the outside. And R-Truth is distracted because of these shenanigans and gets a skull-crushing finale. And The Miz and Mandy Rose win. So good for them. We'll see what happens. How this helps develop the story of Miz and Shane McMahon then. The Usos come out. They start cutting a promo saying no matter how things change, the Usos still run SD Live. They call it the Bar because they want a match. But instead, we get Gallows and Anderson, who come out and say week after week, it's the Usos, it's the New Day, it's the Bar. The Good Bros haven't been on SmackDown since August. And I forgot to check if that's a legitimate statistic, if that is true or not. It feels weird that it's been so long, but it also feels right. So they basically call out the Usos for this. And they set up a match, an instantaneous match. Again, doesn't this feel fresh? Guys who have been there, faces that have been there for a while and who are deserving of an opportunity. There you go. This is fresh. So, from commercial, Carl Anderson has Jimmy Uso in a headlock, keeping Jimmy from making the hot tag to Jay. He gets whipped into the corner, followed by a big European uppercut by Anderson. Gallows then comes in with a big kick, covers, only gets 2. Gallows starts driving some elbows. He whips Jimmy into the corner. The running boot by Gallows misses because Jimmy dodges. And Gallows hits the corner hard, gets the tag into Jay, starts striking Carl Anderson down, hits a Samoan drop. Anderson with a kick to the face. And a jumping neck breaker covers Jay, but only gets 2. Jimmy runs some interference to take out Anderson. And gets a big... And Gallows gets a big sit-out chokeslam on Jay, covers him, but only gets 2. The Usos do double team kicks on Gallows. They take him out, toss him over the top. Jay goes for a dive, but Anderson meets him with a kick to the face, and there was a bit of a miscue, not a miscue, but a little timing was off, because your boy Jay's leg got tied up in between the second and third ropes, and that wasn't a spot. That was an accident, and it looked that could have been a lot worse for Jay, but thankfully it wasn't. But that was a little scary. A cool visual, was nice, a little scary. Back from commercial, Jimmy top body crosses Gallows, covers him for 2. Then we get into a super kick party, and then the Bar's music hits. The champs are out. They come out, but that doesn't keep Jimmy from hitting the big Uso splash on Carl Anderson. Covers him, and Sanity runs in out of nowhere to attack not just the Usos but everyone. Killian Dane kills Jay Uso with a splash on the outside. They just beat the shit out of everyone. And the Bar then go after Gallows and Anderson and the Usos. They're picking up the scraps here. I want to show you guys. I want to tell you. The fact that on one episode of SmackDown, we got both Gallows and Anderson and Sanity looking good. This is how it made me feel. This is how my entire body was feeling like when I realized that all these tag teams are in together, mixing it up, looking good. This was amazing. I can't do it as effectively because I am sitting down on a chair. This was fantastic. That is so good. And fresh. You're mixing it up, fellas. You're giving us some good stuff. You've drawn some lines. Gallows and Anderson are probably going to teeter more towards the babyface side. You got your heels with Sanity and the Bar. Can we all now not just wait for Nikki Cross to come and add the color that we need to Sanity? Because Sanity is not complete without Nikki Cross, the Twisted Sister. She has to be in there. That was good. I mean, the match was okay. Again, I feel like it just lacked a bit of urgency, but it served its purpose as an angle, reestablishing tag teams that we know, reestablishing them as competitors, threats, bringing them back to the forefront. I'm okay with this. Next, we have Shinsuke Nakamura backstage with a few words, talking to Rusev, saying, you say I should be afraid of you, but how can I be afraid of this? And they show some Total Divas footage, aping my boy Sean Ross Sapp, who I agree with here. He said on Twitter that it's good that they showed all this goofy footage of Rusev from Total Divas. It doesn't hurt him. This is everything all the stuff, the nonsense that they put in this montage just shows that wonderful charismatic side of Rusev, that little goofiness that we love so much about him. Just helps put him over more. It wasn't something to bury him. It wasn't like when Jinder Mahal was putting still frames up of Shinsuke Nakamura doing goofy faces in the ring, which is so fucking stupid. I still remember it and it still gets me. But the thing is that showing off Rusev, doing all that crazy, and I even had the thought myself. I said to myself, why doesn't Rusev get a reality TV show? I would watch the shit out of a reality TV show starring Rusev. You kidding me? Nude barbecuing? Yeah, and you said, Rusev Day. Every day is Rusev. Anyway, so building up this feud between the both of them, maybe this U.S. title run for Shinsuke will amount to something. Maybe it'll just be one match, but maybe it'll amount to something. Daniel Bryan hits the ring. He has a microphone. He cuts a promo. He says he killed the Yes Movement, destroyed the house that AJ Styles built, but I am about creation, unlike you people. Yeah, I like to rail about you people promos. That they're not, how much I dislike them. Because I really, really dislike you people promos. I think they're cheap. It's lazy, and it does a disservice to most people involved as well. In this case here, I said it last week as well, and Daniel Bryan did it again. It works because he's establishing himself as a know-it-all, as someone who, a guru, someone who knows better. Like he said, what does he say at some point? He says, you need someone to teach you how to live. And here he is. It's me. It's the new Daniel Bryan. Yes, John, exactly. Going around saying, shame, shame, shame. This was kind of insane, though. Saying that the city of Fresno is the #1 polluter in the state of California. And you've got people going, yes, yes, yes. While he's going, shame, shame, shame. It's bizarre world, man. I'm so proud that our CO2 emissions are higher than everyone everywhere else in the state. Anyway, so I mean, he does another fantastic job with his promo here, uh, and you know, I feel that week after week his promos are zeroing into his character a lot more. You know, there is a case to be made that the eco-friendly vegan, you know, fair-minded, quality of life, conscious guy, minimalistic living, dude, is positioned as a heel. You know, it. You cannot not find that just a wee bit strange, but at the same time, it's so effective, and it's, you know, it's ultimately it is just wrestling, and it's fine. It's still cartoony nonsense, but it's weird. It's just a little weird, but I like it. It works so well for him, and he's doing a great job. So then we get the main event of the night. The main event of the night, where we found out earlier in the evening that Mustafa Ali, god damn it, he is an official member of the SmackDown Live roster. And I could not be happier. That is such good news. That is fantastic news. We have Daniel Bryan and Andrade Cien Almas versus Mustafa Ali and AJ Styles. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. I mean, you've got 4 of the absolute best workers in the company right in that ring. I mean, what else could you expect? What else could you expect? So when we come back from commercial, actually everyone gets to the ring, and then we cut to commercial, and when we come back, the match has actually kind of started, but I think it was just Daniel Bryan stalling at first. Almas and Styles lock up. Styles is super aggressive. Not Styles. Almas is super aggressive, chopping Styles into the corner. Styles reverses into the corner, but Almas battles back. AJ dodges some kicks, but eats a back elbow. One of those signature Andrade Cien Almas back elbows. And he covers the former WWE champion, but only gets 2. Some more strikes. Almas runs the ropes and into a drop kick by Styles. AJ twists Almas' arm. Tags Ali in, who comes off the rope with a stomp to that twisted arm. Ali reverses all of Almas' offense. And in comes Bryan, who gets in control. And Bryan with a savage slap across Ali's face. He locks him into an abdominal stretch. Ali is clearly your babyface in peril at this point. So he's in the stretch, but Ali arm drags himself out of it. But Bryan still keeps him from tagging Styles in. Almas is back. He slams Ali's arm down, chops to Ali's chest. Then Bryan comes back in with some more chops. Mustafa Ali tries to battle back with a kick. He hits a rolling sit-out facebuster on Bryan. He runs the ropes because Daniel Bryan rolls to the outside. Ali runs the ropes for a dive, but Almas tranquilos for the block, accompanied by the lovely Zelina Vega. But instead, what happens is AJ Styles comes in and drop kicks Almas out of the tranquilo position right to the outside. Ali runs the ropes, and Styles pops up Ali for a very, very high tope con hilo onto the heels on the outside. Good stuff. Back from commercial, Ali is reversing out of a Boston Crab applied by ya boy D-Bry. Almas with a body splash covers, only gets 2. And then he gets... No, it wasn't Daniel Bryan. It was Almas. I apologize. That had the Ali in the Boston Crab. Almas gets Ali into a single leg crab. Sliding basement sliding basement kick to the back of Ali's head by Almas, covers him, only gets 2. You know what I really like about Andrade Cien Almas is how violent his offense looks and sounds. It's just everything he does, it just comes off really, really nasty. For someone who's so quick and nimble, he comes across as really strong as well. Hell of a striker. Brian then gets into the ring. He sets Ali up into a surfboard. He locks his legs up and lifts him into a surfboard, but then he transitions into a hell of a dragon sleeper. Still with the legs locked in, cinching back on it. Would have made Drew Gulak proud, I can tell you that much. Holy shit, that looks severe. Almas is back in. He chops Ali some more, whips him into the ropes, pops him up for a face plant. Almas goes for the top rope moonsault into the standing moonsault, which I love, right? And I'm still not bored of seeing it. Longtime members will know I am counting down the number of times that I will have to see Andrade Cien Almas doing the top rope moonsault into a standing moonsault before I got bored of it. This is the 4th time I see it. I'm not bored yet. Well, it's not the 4th time I see it, but it's the 4th time since I've started counting. I'm not bored yet. Anyway, so he goes for the moonsault into the standing moonsault, but Ali lifts his legs, and in comes Styles, and so does Daniel Bryan. Some strikes. Styles clotheslines Bryan down. Diving running forearm on Bryan. Styles tries to suplex him, but instead suplex him back into a neck breaker. Covers Bryan, but only gets 2. Bryan avoids the phenomenal forearm and instead gets rolled into a calf crusher, but Almas breaks it up. Almas then tries to go for the hammerlock DDT. Styles battles out and dumps Almas to the outside. Mustafa Ali is in and he ranas Almas down after almost messing it up, though. But it still worked on the outside on the floor. Styles goes for the Styles Clash on Daniel Bryan, but he battles out with some kicks. Styles is down. He runs Styles into the corner and eats Styles' boot. He hits a moonsault into a reverse DDT on Daniel Bryan. Mustafa Ali is in, hits a tornado DDT on Daniel Bryan. Styles with the phenomenal forearm in the meantime on your boy Andrade Cien Almas. Mustafa Ali goes to the top rope and hits the 054 on Daniel Bryan and gets the 1, 2, 3 on the champ. Wow! Ooh! What a thing we just saw. Second match. His second match on SmackDown, Mustafa Ali pins the champ. Now, you know that Daniel Bryan was, he's been historically high on Ali. You know this is something that he wanted to happen. What a fantastic, fantastic finish. It was so good. There's a bit of a problem. We got some audible at the end, though. As the 054 Ali landed his knees pretty damn close to Daniel Bryan's face. I don't know if y'all noticed. Couldn't have felt good. And you could actually hear Mustafa Ali say, "I'm sorry, man." Daniel Bryan said, "It's all good." This is the kind of shit that that management could just say, "Look, dude, you're changing finishers." Nope, you're just changing finishers. Because that was too close. I mean, on Daniel Bryan especially. You kidding me? Don't want Daniel Bryan eating accidental knees to the face now. I mean, that's what they did with Hideo Itami once he headed on to 205 Live and he hit the GTS on Brian Kendrick and he shattered his orbital bone. And Kendrick was out for months after that. GTS no more. Hideo Itami can't use his signature move. The move he created that he made is banned from use in WWE because of that. So hopefully it won't come to that, because I mean, it is such a signature move for Mustafa, and it's one that can get him over, because the crowd popped when he hit it, when they realized. You could tell that a lot of the the casual audience there that was there in Fresno, most polluted city in California, they didn't quite know who Mustafa Ali was. They weren't very much aware of him. When he got the hot tag late in the match, there wasn't that much of a reaction for him, which is understandable. He's building his main roster credentials here, but hitting the 054 got the reaction. People were like, "Whoa, what the hell did we just see there? Who is this guy?" Anyway, we'll see what happens. But that's the kind of stuff that can ban a move. Well, this felt fresh. It wasn't just words tonight. It wasn't like on Raw yesterday where it was like, "Oh yeah, we're going all in fresh here," and then you basically deliver us some of the same stuff that we've been seeing over the past few weeks with the same people and the same weird angles. And you're like, well, we don't really care about this. We haven't been caring about it. We're not caring about it tonight. But here tonight on Raw, on SmackDown, we had Asuka versus Naomi. Naomi, who got back into the title picture. Big match. That was good. Continuing Jeff and Samoa Joe. Again, well, maybe not as fresh for people who've watched TNA in the past, but still fresh as far as WWE goes. The tag team division completely being shuffled. New entrants, new challengers. That's really exciting. Giving Sanity and Gallows and Anderson some time, establishing themselves as actual teams. So that's good. And then what can you say about the main event where you had Mustafa Ali and Andrade Cien Almas, both of them involved in this main event? This is fantastic. This was really, really something special. This actually felt fresh, except everything was fine except for the Page thing, but I'm not getting back into it. If you want to hear my rant again, you can just watch the replay. So there you have it, folks. This is actually that won't be the last of 2019, but it will be the last recap show that I'll do before Christmas. So I really hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas time. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a fantastic time with family, friends, loved ones. That's the most important thing. I want everyone to be safe. This is essential. Don't be stupid. If you party, if you have a good time, that's fantastic. If you have a little too much, you get someone else to drive you around. You call a cab, you call an Uber, you take the subway, you take a bus. Just don't be an asshole and go and get yourself injured or killed. Just come back. Come back to me after Christmas. We'll see each other on the 26th. It's a date. I'll probably be like in a bathrobe. We'll probably have a cup of hot cocoa, something like that. We'll do it nice and cozy style. You want to be there for that, so don't be stupid. But enjoy the holidays. Have a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you all once Christmas is done. I'm gonna have a fantastic Christmas on my end with the family. Again, I can only wish the same for you guys. Guys, thank you all so very much for coming out. Everyone in the live chat, everyone later on. And I'll see you next time. Merry Christmas.